I feel ready, yeah. Thank you, Sophie. And thank you for having me at my first ever conference. My name is Aaron. I'm a research master student at the University of Amsterdam. And just as Obed, I worked with Bruno Verschuere also on the heuristic approach. So our projects were kind of related. But I think I can still add something new because we took what Obed did and tried to take it one step further, sort of making an actual heuristic you can use in real life out of all of this. So let me start. This is by now old news. So we talked a lot about at this conference that people really do not perform better than chance when they are trying to predict lies or detect lies. And a possible explanation for this might be that there are only a few diagnostic cues for lie detection. In addition to this, not only are there only a few diagnostic cues, but also people hold false beliefs about the diagnostic value of cues. So Obed just showed that people, or usually what is found is that people name nonverbal cues such as gaze aversion or fidgeting as cues for lying. But as Obed showed, these cues are actually not related to lying. And this is not only Obed who is showing this. This is also found in a couple of meta-analyses. But luckily for the heuristic approach, there are some exceptions, especially in the verbal domain. And this is also found by Obed as well as other researchers, that, for example, the detailedness of a statement might actually be able to predict the truthfulness of a statement. So now the question we were asking ourselves was, can we make people use these diagnostic cues, such as detailedness, while disregarding other undiagnostic cues in order to improve their lie detection accuracy? There are some approaches, like the scientific content analysis or the verifiability approach, also the AIM technique that was presented here at the conference, which actually improve lie detection ability, but they're usually relatively resource intense, time consuming, and they require ample training. So we thought, okay, this is not really applicable to people like police officers or security personnel that need to make relatively quick on-the-spot decisions, and they cannot rely on, for example, scrutinizing written transcripts. So the idea Bruno now is following for a couple of studies is using heuristics in this context. Just to summarize, a heuristic is a simple decision rule that reduces the complexity of a decision process, usually by reducing the amount of information you're using for making a decision. And Gigerans and colleagues and also other researchers have repeatedly shown that heuristics can be very adaptive and actually perform at a similar level like elaborate decision algorithms in multiple domains. One specific heuristic is the take the best heuristic, which has been proposed over 25 years ago. And take the best works according to the principle, take the best and ignore the rest, and uses the validity of cues. So maybe I should give you an example. So let's say you want to make a binary choice, like in a lie detection task. Is somebody telling the truth or a lie? What you would then do is you would collect all cues that you have, order them according to their validity, and use only the best, most valid cue for making your decision. In our context, this would be the detailedness of a statement. So people would evaluate the detailedness, and based on the detailedness, make that decision, somebody's telling the truth or a lie. And Bruno has shown in a couple of studies that these single cues outperform veracity judgments. This is also what Obed just presented. What we now did is we took this one step further, and we used the detailedness judgment people made and let them derive a binary true lie judgment from their own detailedness judgment. So we had two hypotheses. The first one was that we think, okay, relying only on a diagnostic cue and disregarding all other undiagnostic cues should increase lie detection accuracy. Therefore, take the best heuristic should outperform unguided veracity judgments. And the second hypothesis was that since in video recorded statements, nonverbal usually non-diagnostic cues, such as gaze aversion or fidgeting, are present. Because they are present in these videos, people should perform worse on the videos than on the text segments, because here these non-diagnostic cues impede the judgments people make. So let me quickly walk you through the experiment we did. We had 109 participants recruited via Prolific. We employed a 2x2x2 mixed subjects design. We had the first factor was judgment type, which was then either the detailedness heuristic or the control condition. And like I said, we wanted to take this heuristic heuristic approach a step further. And therefore we employed a decision rule. So we said, we told people to evaluate the detailedness of a statement. And if they evaluated the detailedness to be 6 or higher, then we told people to select that a person is telling a truth, and otherwise that a person is telling a lie. You can see this here. So the material is exactly the same as Obed used, but with these differences was also different samples. So people evaluated the detailedness on a scale from 0 to 10, and were then asked to indicate whether the person is telling a truth or a lie. And of course, in the control condition, people did not make this detailedness judgment. Then to investigate hypothesis 2, we showed people either videos or texts. Again, the material is the same as Obed used, and the texts are the transcripts of the videos. And finally, we had the within subjects factor, which is the ground truth. So every participant saw 6 true and 6 false statements in a randomized order, which yields then 12 judgments per participant. And our dependent variable in this context would then be the percentage of correct lie-truth classifications. So the accuracy with which a participant can detect lies. So then we will have a look at the results. We conducted 2x2 Bayesian ANOVAs. I took notes during Mircea's presentation, and I am hyped to reanalyze the data with the Bayesian mixed models. But yeah, we did Bayesian ANOVAs, and so for our first main hypothesis, we investigated whether heuristics yield higher accuracy than unguided judgments, and in fact, we find that people that made the heuristic judgments perform better than the people that make unguided judgments, where they can use whatever cue they want. You can see it's a base factor of 7.3. This is moderate evidence, but the effect size is quite good. And this is what this looks in a graph. I saw that Obed and I, without talking about it, shows the same colors for the two conditions, which is nice. On the y-axis, you can see the accuracy in percent. On the x-axis, the medium conditions, text and video, and blue, the control condition, and yellow, the detailedness condition. And you can see for both medium types, the detailedness heuristic performs better than the control condition. And also, which is nice to see, the detailedness heuristic performs better as the meta-analytically found accuracy of 54%, which is the gray dashed line. And for hypothesis 2, we predicted again that text accuracy on text statements should be better than on video statements, but you can already see that from the graph. There was no difference. We found that accuracy was the same for text and video statements. Here, the base factor indicates the support for the null hypothesis, which is just in the area. So when it's bigger than 3, you would say, okay, we have moderate evidence for the hypothesis. So which is just in the area where we have moderate evidence for the null hypothesis, but I would be careful with interpreting this or with being conclusive about this base factor. So there's definitely more data needed to make a definite answer about whether hypothesis 2 is true or not, or supported or not. And finally, there was no interaction effect between the two factors. So to wrap this up, I want to discuss the findings we had shortly. So I think we can say that the simple decision rule appears to improve lie detection accuracy. This is now a finding that has been shown by studies like Obed did in a couple of these, and also in the study we conducted. The improvement, however, is modest. So you could argue 61 versus 53% is not really a meaningful increase. However, we have reason to believe that this might be an underestimation of the real potential of the heuristic approach. Bruno did another small study where they found that a similar setup, that the heuristic yielded an accuracy of 79%. And the only difference there was that the judges were informed about the diagnostic value of detailedness as a cue. And this is in line with other research that shows that informing judges might actually improve lie detection accuracy in these contexts. Second, we don't find nonverbal cues to impede lie detection accuracy. And we were doubting whether our sample was actually, or whether the effect is so small that we were not able to pick it up. In another study, Leach and colleagues found that restricting access to nonverbal cues led to a 3 to 6 percentage points increase in lie detection accuracy. And we might have lacked the power to detect this difference, which is also in line with very nice paper also cited that by Levine and colleagues, where they showed that you need 100 judges per condition to get reliable results in deception research, whereas we had only 50 judges per condition. This is also in line with the small base factor, so I think definitely more data is needed to make conclusive judgments about the second hypothesis. Which leads me to summarizing maybe what we can take away from this. So heuristics seem to be useful, as I said. Investigation of the magnitude of the effect would be very interesting. Also using different cues, like Obed said, or to conduct this research with professionals in real world situations, how the heuristic approach then fares. And also we should investigate more the boundary conditions. So when nonverbal cues are present, there's really more research needed. And in fact, we are currently setting up a second study where we focus on exactly that. And finally, I think still that there is reason to hope that the heuristic approach might actually be applied in situations where quick on-the-spot decisions are necessary and you don't have a lot of time. So I think can be carefully optimistic. Okay, so that was it with my talk. I thank you so much for your attention, and I'm very curious for feedback and or questions you might have.